The spider.
The spider. The spider.
Spider.
The spider.
The spider.
Mr. Spider.
I want a line to the spider.
Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
After years of wasting time on movies like Morbius, Madam Web, and Kraven, Sony finally made the Spider-Man project fans actually wanted. Spider-Noir proves that sometimes the best thing you could do with Spider-Man is keep it simple, grounded, and focus on great storytelling. For years, Spider-Man fans have been saying the same thing. We don't need another random Spider-Man villain movie. And yet somehow, Sony kept giving us exactly that. First it was Morbius, then Madam Web, then Kraven the Hunter. Movie after movie built around characters that most casual fans barely knew or cared about. Instead of expanding Spider-Man's world in meaningful ways, Sony spent years trying to turn side villains into blockbuster franchises. And the result? Most of them failed to connect with audiences. But now, with Spider-Noir, Sony has finally given fans what they've wanted all along. A grounded Spider-Man story. A character-driven Spider-Man story. A story that actually feels like it belongs in the Spider-Man universe. For those unfamiliar with Spider-Noir, the character first appeared in the Spider-Man Noir comics. He's an alternate universe Peter Parker, living during the Great Depression in the 1930s. Interestingly, the series changes that identity and presents him as Ben Reilly instead. Sony hasn't fully explained the reason behind the change, but it could be an attempt to give the show its own unique identity, avoid direct ties to the traditional Peter Parker story, or simply take the character in a different creative direction. Whether fans agree with the change or not, the series still captures the core elements that made Spider-Noir popular in the first place. Unlike the bright and colorful Spider-Man we're used to, Spider-Noir operates in a dark world filled with crime, corruption, gangsters, and mystery. He's less of a quippy superhero and more of a detective. The character became especially popular after his appearance in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where fans immediately fell in love with his unique personality and old-school detective vibe. And that's exactly why the series feels so refreshing. Because it isn't trying to be another flashy multiverse spectacle. It isn't trying to convince us that a random villain can carry an entire cinematic universe. Instead, it focuses on storytelling, atmosphere, and character. Honestly, watching Spider-Noir reminded me of why so many fans fell in love with Spider-Man in the first place. It takes us back to that grounded feeling we got from Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Back when Spider-Man stories were about ordinary people dealing with real problems.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!
Back when character development mattered just as much as action scenes. The Raimi films understood something many modern superhero projects forget. Spider-Man works best when the story feels personal. Spider-Noir understands that same philosophy. The darker setting, the detective elements, the focus on crime and corruption, it all feels much more intimate than another giant CGI battle in the sky. And that's why it's frustrating to think about how many years Sony spent chasing the wrong ideas. Imagine if the resources used on Morbius, Madam Web, and Kraven the Hunter had gone into projects like this instead. Imagine if Sony had focused on unique Spider-Man stories, rather than building a universe around characters nobody was asking to see. Now, to be fair, Venom is exception. The Venom films aren't perfect, but they found an audience. Tom Hardy brought energy and personality to the role, and the movies embraced their weirdness enough to stand out. Venom worked because there was already genuine fan interest in the character. But Morbius, Madam Web, Kraven, those projects felt like Sony trying to force a cinematic universe into existence rather than telling stories people actually wanted.
Right.
Spider-Noir feels different. It feels inspired. It feels like a project built around a genuinely interesting character rather than a corporate checklist. And that's why so many Spider-Man fans have connected with it. Not because it's another universe-building exercise. Not because it's setting up 10 spin-offs. But because it's an actual story worth telling. At the end of the day, Spider-Man's greatest strength has never been giant crossovers or endless multiverse events. It's always been the characters, the humanity, the grounded struggles hidden beneath the mask. And Spider-Noir proves exactly that. After years of questionable decisions and forgettable villain spin-offs, Sony finally delivered a Spider-Man project that understands what fans have been asking for all along. No gimmicks, no forced universe building, just a great Spider-Man story. And now that Spider-Noir has delivered on that promise, it's easily one of the best Spider-Man projects Sony has produced in years. Hopefully Sony learns the right lesson from its success. Fans don't want endless villain spin-offs. They want great Spider-Man stories. And Spider-Noir proves that when Sony focuses on exactly that, the results speak for themselves. What do you think of Spider-Noir? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
I don't know. I think you still got it.